Good morning and good evening to everyone. As part of today's session, we will be discussing about SAP GTS product classification functionality or SAP GTS product classification application area. So far we have completed our SAP GTS overview and then integration of data integration between S4 to GTS systems with respect to transactional data and the master data. And during the same time, we have discussed about the baddies that need to be activated, the document types that need to be specified during baddie activation. And after that, we started discussing SAP GTS general settings such as organizational structure, document structure, partner structure. And then we also discussed about the legal regulations. So after that, we started the application areas that are related to or that are part of compliance management. Like so far, we have completed two application areas. One is embargo screening, and the second one is SPL screening. So this is what we have covered so far. And in the today's class, we are going to discuss a functionality called product classification. Product classification. Basically, the product classification, I can say that it's a master data item. It's kind of a master data related functionality or master data item.
Sorry, Venkat. Sorry to interrupt you. Have you shared your screen or you're not?
I have not shared anything. I just started the recording, but when it is required, I will share the screen. Okay. So product classification, when it comes to the product classification, it is basically relevant for both compliance management and the customs management. So when I say product classification application area or the product classification functionality is relevant for both is relevant for compliance management and the customs management. Why? Because okay, I'll come to that point later, but let me give some kind of background. So when you are doing an export or doing import, what generally we do as part of export or as part of import? Like let us say your company is dealing with electronics, consumer electronics or commercial electronics. So what we generally do?
We declare what we are trying to send or export to the other country. What product?
Declare is okay. Declaration is okay, but before that, like what it means, like as a consumer electronic manufacturer or seller, what do you do as part of your export or what you do as part of your import?
We need to first decide for product classification, means this product, which tariff this product going to export or import. We need to decide first this.
That is correct, that's correct, Sangram. But I'm just starting little. I understood, like you are giving an answer assuming that the other point. So basically, we are selling.
Apply for license.
We are exporting or importing the products, right? Basically, like in the import side, we may be importing the raw materials. We may be importing the raw materials that are required to procure your consumer electronic goods, the finished good. And as part of export, what you will be doing? You will be exporting your electronic products. It could be your refrigerator, it could be your laptop, or it could be your printers, or it could be your HVAC related equipments, or whatever it is. Like it could be your dishwasher or dryer or washer kind of thing. So basically, as part of export or import, we are dealing with multiple products, right? We are dealing with multiple products. So it is consumer products, you are dealing with consumer electronic related products, whatever the examples I have given. If it is automobile sector, you are exporting like your bikes, or exporting your car or buses or whatever it is. So you are exporting that, and at the same time, we import whatever the raw materials that is required to produce or to manufacture your finished product. So by taking into consideration of this scenario, so when it comes to the export, let us say you are exporting. When you are exporting the product, basically what happens? You are exporting laptops. Let us say we're exporting the laptops. So as part of export, what you need to do? So
Part number, you need to specify the part number.
yes, that means as part of our export, basically what we need to do, we need to make sure that proper license is in place. We need to make sure that we have proper license is in place to export this product. So that's the primary requirement. So we need to make sure that we have received the proper license for the product what we are exporting, and then you can provide that license details. You can provide that license details when you are exporting that product to the you need to provide that license details to the customs authorities. You need to provide that license details to the customs authorities as part of your export. So that is the one thing. And second thing, is, so at the same time, sometimes you need to identify. So what is the duty? So do I need to pay any duty in order to export this product or not? So that means we have a requirement to identify the duty as well. And in some cases, you also need to know, so what are the documentation? So what documentation is required to export this product from this country to other country? So like this, as part of product classification, basically we have a requirement to determine the license that is required to export this product or particular product, or we have a requirement to determine the documents, list of legal documents that need to be submitted to the customs authorities, or you also need to understand, okay, what tariff or what duty is applicable when you are exporting this product. So that what happens? So once you determine yourself as an exporter, once you determine these things from your end, then you will be able to submit the corresponding supporting information to the customs authorities. So now the point is, let us talk about from the exporter side. So when it comes to the product, how do we know what license is required, or how do we know that what is the tariff is required, or how do we know what documentation is required by based on product name or the description? Do you think my point is it really feasible by just looking at the product name or the description to come to the conclusion on those things like license requirements, tariff or tax requirements, the duty requirements, or like the documentation, legal documentation requirements? Is it really possible based on the product or the product description what you maintain in SAP or in your system?
No.
No, right? That's correct. Because it's not possible. The reason is by just looking at the name and description, it is not really possible to come to the conclusion. So what license is required, or what documentation is required, or what tariff or duty is applicable for this product. So for that reason, so not only from the exporter perspective, there is another case. So when it comes to the trade authorities, the customs authorities, the government authorities. So when you are exporting, if you just tell them, if you just send the details of product name and the description, is it possible for them, like what license is required, or what tariff is required, or what documentation is applicable for this product to export? Even for them, it's not possible, right? Because there is one tricky part. So maybe as an exporter, you may be knowing that, okay, it is electronic product. If you specify a laptop, if you are manufacturing a laptop, you may be knowing, like, to some extent, okay, this is a laptop, okay, it is electronic product, okay, and it is under consumer electronics, and under the consumer electronics, it is like next level, or I can say that maybe personal usage, or business usage kind of thing. You may be knowing that. But when it comes to the customs authorities, if you just say laptop, or or you know that, right? IBM call it as, they don't call it as, a laptop. They call it as notebook, right? IBM call it as notebook, and some other company call it as different name. I mean to say that even the iPhone. So Apple call it as iPhone, Samsung call it as Galaxy, or some other company call it as some smartphone, whatever it is. So if different companies, dealing or treating or referring as a different names, and the different names is being sent to the customs authorities, is it possible to the customs authorities to understand what product it is by just looking at the name, what is maintained from the exporter side?
No,
Okay, it's not
it's
feasible.
not possible. Yeah.
Not possible. So because of all these reasons, what happens? By taking into consideration of all these reasons, the international trade authorities, the regulated authorities, what they did, they introduced a concept of a mechanism called product classification. So they introduced a concept of product classification. So that means what? Each and every product, as part of your export or as part of your import, for each and every product, what is being exported or what is being imported, there is a requirement in the international trade. There is a rule in the international trade that every product has to be classified with a specific or applicable code, applicable standardized code. So there is a requirement in the international trade that each and every product that is being exported or imported or participated in the international trade, it has to be assigned with a standardized code. So what are the standardized codes? There are different standardized codes available in the international trade. So the basic ones, I mean the main ones that are part of compliance management are ECCN number or ICCN number. ECCN number or ICCN number. Let me share our master sheet Excel. Just give me 1 minute. One minute. So there are basically two codes that are being utilized, that are being used as part of compliance management, or ECCN number or ICCN number. ECCN means export control classification number. ICCN means import control classification numbers. So that means, so when you are doing an export or when you are doing an import, with respect to license determination, with respect to documentation requirements, or with respect to I can say that duty or tariff, mainly from the compliance perspective. So as I already explained, when you are exporting or importing, you have different requirements on a specific product. It could be license requirements, it could be documentation requirements, or it could be like tariff or duty requirements. And exclusively from the compliance management perspective, this classification functionality is being used to determine licenses, the licenses for a product that is being used in the export or import. So how the license is determined? How the license is determined for a product in the transaction, based on one of the main parameter is based on the ECCN or ICCN that is being assigned to custom product in the system, that is being assigned to the custom product in the system. So that means, as part of compliance management, when it comes to the product classification, we have a requirement to classify all of our products with export control classification code for the products relevant for the export side, and we need to assign import control classification code that to the products that are being utilized as part of the import. So these are the two codes. So basically like this, there are other codes also there. So when I say that standardized codes, right? So what is the product classification? Product classification is the process of assigning the standardized codes. The product classification is the process of assigning the standardized codes to the products that are being participated in the international trade. So you know that there are products participated in the international trade. All those products need to be classified with standardized codes such as ECCN code or ICCN code, or I can say that the Schedule B number or HTS code. And also we have different kind of codes like FDA numbers, Food and Drug Association number. So like this, there are different codes are existing in the international trade process. So the main standardized codes that are applicable for each and every business are ECCN number and ICCN number, which is relevant for the license determination as part of the compliance management, and Schedule B number, or it is also called as commodity code. Schedule B number or commodity code, or like HTS code. So basically, as I already explained, ECCN number and ICCN number, they are relevant for determining the license for a product. Like basically they use for the legal control purpose, like whether the product is relevant for the license or not. That is, and if it is relevant for the license, what license is required. So that and all determined with the help of determined based on the ECCN number or ICCN number. So which means, so whatever the code, I am going back to the original explanation, original discussion. So whatever the code, the ECCN code or ICCN code that we assign, whatever the code that we assign to the products like export related products, ECCN number, import related product, ICCN number, based on that code, it is possible for the customs authorities to understand what license is required. If a license is required, if license is required, what license is required, whether the license is assigned to the transaction or not. So that's the help provided to the customs authorities with the help of the classification code. In the similar way, from the compliance management perspective also, what we can do, we can utilize classification code as one parameter. We can utilize classification code like ECCN number or ICCN number as one parameter among, there are other parameters also, but this is the one main parameter that is used to determine license, to automatically determine license for a product in the transaction. So that is the basic use of ECCN number or ICCN number. Basically, with the help of the ECCN or ICCN, we can determine license for a product in the transaction from both export and import from the compliance management perspective. Like that means you can determine the license for the sales order, outbound delivery from the export side, purchase order or inbound delivery from the import side. So that's what we do from the compliance. So in the similar way, there are other two standardized codes. Like in addition to the ECCN and ICCN, we also have two other standardized codes. So what are those two standardized codes? Commodity code or Schedule B number, and the other one is HTS code. So let me explain what is the importance of standard like Schedule B number or HTS code. So let me put this way. So from the international trade perspective, most of the people call it as commodity code. When you are exporting a product, as part of your customs export declaration, as part of your export, and in order to submit the export declaration to the customs authorities, what happens? There is a code called commodity code. Which is 10-digit number. So that code is supposed to be assigned to the products so that the customs authorities can understand. So what kind of product it is, whether it is like electronic product If it is electronic, is a consumer electronic or commercial side, or if it is consumer, and what is the next level, like next sub level, what subcategory, or if it is like automobile. So automobile is the very high level category, and then subcategory. Like you can say that passenger vehicles or commercial vehicles. If it is passenger, like that, right? Like SUVs or sedan, they're different kind of. So like this, so the each number that is available in the commodity code of 10 digit can tell everyone what kind of product it is and what documentation it is or what tariff it is required for the product. So like this, the commodity code is being in the international trade. But when it comes to the US perspective, US country specific, we use like something called Schedule B numbers. In US export perspective, we use something called Schedule B numbers. So what it does, what is the main purpose? So the main advantage, the main purpose of using the Schedule B numbers are when you are exporting from the US to any country, if the product value, if your export value, not the product, if your export value, if the export total net value is greater than $2,500, then you are supposed to provide some kind of documentation like shipper's export declaration or shipper's letter of instruction or commercial invoice. There are some documents that you are supposed to submit to the customs authorities as part of your export, So now the point is what they do with that. So the basic purpose of US government authorities introducing this rule is they wanted to know end of month or end of like a particular period, what is the total value of exports being done from our country to different or each country. So in order to identify that, they made it mandatory. If the total shipment value is more than 2,500 value, then they made it mandatory to classify those products with the classification code, each code called Schedule B number. And then based on that, we need to submit the documentation to the customs authorities. So that is like Schedule B number, which is being used in the customs management from the GTS perspective. From the GTS perspective, the Schedule B numbers are HTS codes. Schedule B numbers are HTS codes are being used in the customs management, whereas ECCN number or ICCN number being used in the compliance management. So the compliance management ECCN, ICCN are required for determining the license of a product, whereas the Schedule B number is for the statistical reporting purpose that has to be submitted to the government authorities on every export what we are making more than the shipment value more than 2,500. So from the import side, whenever you are importing something, that right now the current scenario, the Trump administration recent tariffs. So they started imposing like 25%, 30% or 50%, 100% on different goods. So how they determine that? Based on the HTS code, that's called harmonized tariff codes, HTS codes, harmonized HT codes or harmonized tariff system codes. So these tariff codes like HTS codes or HS codes, some people call it as HS codes, some people call it as HTS codes. These codes are used to determine the tariff, to determine the custom duty, or tariff. So if you assign HTS code to the product, if you classify your custom products using this HTS codes, that help the customs authorities what is the total duty or what is the total tariff applicable for this product, because based on the HTS code or based on the HS code, based on the each number or each digit that is available in the HS code, it is easy for everyone, even for us from the trade compliance specialist in the company or the customs authorities, they can easily identify what product it is, what category it is, what subcategory it is, or what what subchapter it is. So based on all these parameters, what they do, they can determine, they can identify like the import duty, and also you can say that the tariff that is applicable to the product. So because of all these reasons, what we have discussed so far, like 30 minutes or 35 minutes. So all these reasons, it is mandatory to classify all our products that are being imported or exported. So that help each and everyone to determine the license, to determine the documentation, the legal documents, legal supporting documents, or to determine the duty or tariff. So this is what the main purpose of utilizing the product classification functionality in the GTS module or in the international trade. So now coming back to the next part. The next part is, so when it comes to the product classification, so what do you think Microsoft, how many products they could be having? So thousands of the products, like maybe like.
Venkat, can I ask you something
Yes,
before going ahead? Okay.
sure.
So yeah. So you said we have that ECCN, ICCN. So is that those are used with the compliance management and the commodity code used with the custom? Is that right?
Yes, commodity code or schedule B number and HTS code are being used in the
Custom management, and for the compliance management only these two, ECCN and ICCN.
Correct.
Okay.
So
But as part of the part of the international trading, we have to utilize both, right? Like it should always go with both, or we can go with only for the compliance and not for the custom, or with the custom and
No,
not for the
it is like this. If your client is using both compliance management and customs management, so then they use like both, like HTS codes, I don't know, from the customs management area, they classify the products with schedule E number, or what is the second one? HTS code. And the compliance side, they classify products with the ECCN code or ICCN code.
So it depend like what we are going to use, right? Compliance
Yes,
or the custom.
Yeah, correct, that's correct.
Okay. But is that normally go with both, or we can go one of either?
No, like it should be required for both, right? For license, you require to assign the ECCN code, and you are exporting the product from the documentation perspective, and then duty perspective, you have to assign that schedule B number and HTS codes.
And this everything will be part of the material master, right? So we can see that one
That's
into
everything part of the material master.
Okay.
Venkat, go ahead.
Go ahead, Vinod. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead, Vinod. Yeah.
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Venkat, I have a question. So you mentioned export. You mentioned the $2,500 cutoff, right?
Yes, that's correct. That's what basically to submit declaration to the customs authorities. If your custom shipment value is 2,500,
right. So does that mean that if the value of my export order is less than 2,500, since it is the dollar amount that is driving the decision, does it mean that the product classification then plays a subordinated role in that, or it plays no role at all? It's only the dollar
No,
amount?
not like that. Not like that. It is only for from the declaration perspective. So from the license perspective, it is still based on the product nature, it is still required to classify like ECCN code as part of your export based on the product nature. But only from the documentation submission perspective, like shipper's letter of instruction or shipper's export declaration. So from the documentation perspective, if it is $2,500 less value, then you don't need to submit any documentation to the customs authorities. That's what it means.
Okay. Now, the reason I asked the question is you may be aware that recently, the end of August, they stopped that de minimis deal, by which up to $800 you could import into the US without paying any duty, no declaration, nothing.
No,
And
I'm
then
talking about export. I'm talking about export. The $2,500 is from the export
I
side.
know that, but I'm saying on the import side, because import is also part of international trade. So up to $800, you could import paying without paying any duties or any declaration. Of course, Trump stopped that in the end of August. So there, that $800 worth of goods that you import through FedEx or UPS or even US Postal Service, you're not declaring anything there. Not the product number or the classification or any documents, right? So why is it that in the de minimis agreement they waived all that till the end of August?
No, like I didn't understand your question. You were asking me why the US government take that decision?
No.
I
The
didn't
US
get it.
government, no. What I'm saying is, as far as import, up to the end of August, the US allowed import up to $800 in small packages.
Okay.
And you don't, and the guy who is shipping it to you, China or whatever country, they didn't have to declare anything.
Okay.
So that is because the cutoff value was $800, up to $800.
I got that point. What is your exact? I mean, are you asking question or you are just trying
Yeah,
to?
no. I'm asking a question because there again the product classification has no role to play. That's what my
Okay.
question is.
Okay. That's correct. In that perspective, if you know that it's like less than certain value, then there's no point of classifying the product, that product, right? You can ignore it. That's fine. It is basically end of the day, the product classification is only required for the products that are kind of what you can do, like, okay, it is like this. If in case that you know that you never required you never you all if you know that you always import that product, or the if you know that your import shipment value is like $800 for the whole year, right? Even the multiple shipments, if you do multiple times, that it will be caught, right? It will be definitely so if
Well, it's actually per shipment $800.
What about if they do like multiple shipments in a year, like so
No
two?
problem. So this was the rule till end of August, and then of course they
Okay,
changed it.
then
Now they have to pay duty.
then what we can do, then if you know that is the scenario forever, then you can simply ignore the product classification. You don't do product classification, but what you can do, there is one option in the SAP GTS. You can specify that basically no control. Something called no control you can apply,
Right.
so that system will not expect anything from that for those
No,
products.
that is what I wanted to know.
We have
That
no
is there
control
a
on
way to override the product classification completely if the
exactly.
dollar is driving, if the dollar amount is what is driving the import or export duties?
Correct. So for that, what we need to do, we have to specify that no control option. Like there is a no control setup in the product classification mechanism. So if you activate it, the system will not expect anything. It will not expect the license. It will not expect any other thing.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
We can get one question. Can the ECCN number and the commodity code number can be same in the system, or it will be two different numbers in with the
No. ECCN and ICCN, they're only 5-digit numbers. ECCN or ICCN are just 5-digit number that are being used for the license purpose. Okay.
Okay.
But whereas commodity code or HTS codes are 10-digit numbers. Different.
Okay. So both are two different things. Okay.
Two different numbers.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Generally, do we get this ECCN or Schedule B numbers from the data providers?
Yes, that has to come from the data providers. We don't have that in the system. The system, SAP GTS by default, it is not having any code, standardized codes. Whatever the code is required, we have to receive from the data provider, and we have to upload those codes to the SAP GTS system. And then you start applying, this one, classification.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So now I'm going to give the definition for the product classification one more time. Product classification is the process of classifying the products by assigning the standardized codes during international trade transaction. So product classification is the process of assigning standardized codes. Product classification is the process of assigning the standardized codes to the products that are being participated in the international trade. So when it comes to the product classification, if the company is having 10 products, 100 products or 150 products or 200, maybe if the number is very less, maybe you are okay just to classify each and every product. You can spend 1 day time or 2 days time, you can do it. But if you look at the current the market trend, international trend, or companies wide range, definitely every company is dealing with thousands of the products. So by taking into consideration of that scenario, do you think the manual classification is a good idea? No, right?
No.
It's not a good idea at all, because it is very time consuming, and there is always possibility of potential manual errors. There is a possibility of manual errors. So to avoid all these things, and also not only that, so in order to assign the license for a product each and every transaction, in order to assign license for a product in the each and every transaction as part of your compliance management means, you may be having requirement to assign the license to the product part of sales order or outbound delivery, that customs document for the sales order, or custom document for the delivery, or custom document for the purchase order, or custom document for the inbound delivery. For all these 4 transaction levels, we have a requirement to assign the license. So in order to do that, so it is also not possible to manually assign the license to the product in the transaction. So due to this reason, first of all, what happens? So from the product classification perspective, SAP GTS has come up with a concept of product classification functionality where you have an option to classify multiple products at one time. You have an option to classify multiple products at one time. So what does it mean? For example, your company is dealing with different products, like 20,000 products. So out of 20,000 products, so 1,000 products need one classification code. All 500 products require one classification code. So if you don't use our SAP GTS product classification, so for each and every product we have to classify one by one. But the beauty of SAP GTS product classification, so we have a concept of classify multiple products at one time, or mass classification. We have classify multiple products at one time functionality, or mass classification functionality, where you can select all products at one time. And assign whatever the code that is applicable to all 500 products. So like this, all products you can select it and then assign the code that is required, and so that it will reduce a lot of time. It will reduce manual errors as well. So that's what an SAP GTS come up with. SAP GTS product classification functionality has come up with a concept of classify multiple products at one time, or mass classification, where we can select multiple product at one time and assign a single standardized code that is applicable for all codes all products that are available in the system. So this is the background, or the domain process, or the basic fundamental overview of SAP GTS product classification. So now I'm going to explain how this product classification process works. The second part is how the product classification works, from the process wise, in the GTS side, or from the feeder system to GTS perspective. Okay. So basically, the first prerequisite to classify the products in the GTS system is you have to transfer all your product data from the S4 to the GTS system. So first of all, if you need to classify, you have to, or I can say like this. So the other way is, first of all, you have to, okay, I can put like this. So assuming that the products are already transferred. So the prerequisite is before starting the product classification process, I can put like this. Before starting the product classification process in the GTS system, the prerequisite is you have to transfer all our product data from S4 HANA or a feeder system to the GTS system. So once the products are available, then the product classification process starts. So what is the first step? We have to receive the standardizer codes. We have to receive the standardizer codes from the data providers. The first step is receiving the standardizer codes from the data providers. What are the standardizer codes? It could be ECCN number, it could be ICCN number, or it could be HTS code or Schedule B number. We have to receive from the data provider to your system. So how you can receive? As I already explained from the SPL records, either you can receive this file offline to your email, or they can directly do the file transfer protocol, file transfer process, FTP process, file transfer process, where it will be directly available in your A11 application server. So first of all, you have to receive the codes from the data provider. So once the codes are available in our local computer or A11, the second step is we have to upload those classification codes to the GTS system. So once the codes are available in your offline or in your local computer or A11, we have to upload those codes to the GTS system as part of product classification functionality. So that is the second thing. So the third thing is once these codes are available, like ECCN or ICCN codes are available, now what we have to do? Now we have products in place. Now we have products that are transferred from the S4 to GTS are in place, and we also have the codes like ECCN or ICCN or HTS or HTS or Schedule B number. All codes are in place. So now the real task starts. That is classifying the products. So when you are classifying the products, there are two different options. There are two different ways you can classify. So mostly what we do, most of the times or very first time, we do mass classification, or we classify the multiple products at one time as part of our cutover or as part of our beginning of the implementation, your project. But in between, we have a requirement to do like a classification for on changes, like changes. I don't know, the new product is introduced, a new product is created in the S4 HANA or FADA system that is transferred to the GTS. So you don't need to use that functionality, right? You can simply you can simply select that individual product, and also you can do the classification for that product as well. So which means the product classification can be done, or the classifying the products can be done in two different ways. That is multiple products at one time, or classifying individual product at one time. So that's like the third step, classifying the products. And the next thing is, for example, 1 month back or 1 year back, you classify the products. You classify the products with certain codes. Like there are some codes what you have received 1 year back and you classified it. But some reason, the changes in the government rules or regulations or whatever it is. So we have a requirement to assign new codes to the same product. The products previously classified with one set of codes, but now we have received a new set of codes. Newly received. We have newly received codes in place. Then what we have to do? We have to reclassify. We have to reclassify those products. You have to reclassify those products in the system. That means you can remove the old code and you can assign the new codes as well. So that is also possible using two different ways. Either you can use reclassification. You can use the reclassify the products using the XML file, which means in the source file itself, you can specify the product name. You can specify the product name and the old code and the new code, so that all the products that are part of the XML file will be updated automatically once you do that reclassify the products using the XML file. or you can do the manual reclassification as well. You can also do the manual reclassification where you don't need to select the product. You can simply put all old codes in one column, all old codes in one column, and new codes in another column, and save it and click on that reclassify, so that whichever the product is having that old code, whichever the product is having the old code will be replaced by with the new code. So you don't need to specify the product. Simply you specify the old codes and new codes, so that the all old code products will be replaced with the new codes. So that is the reclassify the products manually or using the SAP GTS transactions. So this is an overall process. First of all, the prerequisite is, in order to perform the product classification, you have to transfer all your custom product data from the S4 or feeder system to the GTS. And then from the GTS side, the starting point is you have to receive the codes. Whatever the code is required for the product classification, you have to receive the code from the data provider, and then uploading those codes to the system. And third, classifying the products. When you are classifying the products, we have two options. Individual product classification, that means classify one product at one time, or multiple products at one time, which is also called as mass classification. And then reclassifying the products manually, or reclassifying the products using the XML file. So this is product classification process. And with respect to S4 to GTS, here I have to tell one thing. So we have a requirement, we have a provision in the SAP GTS. Once the products are classified with commodity codes, once the products are classified with HTS code, whatever the code it is, if you have a requirement to transfer those classification process, that HTS code assignment information back to S4, we also have that functionality. We also have that provision. That means once the classification is done in the GTS system, if you want to transfer the classification details, classification data from S4 to the feeder system, SAP provided separate report transactions where you can schedule the background job to transfer all our product classification data from S4 to the feeder, from the GTS system to the S4 system. So this is also one additional point what you have to this is some of the business users will ask you. If you don't know that you unnecessarily develop a custom transaction to transfer the custom report, a custom program to transfer the data, but SAP itself is provided that option, where you can schedule the background jobs, or you can select manually and transfer the data back to the feeder system. Okay. So this, I think Shravan is having some question. Yes, Shravan.
Yeah, Venkat. So, Venkat, do we have any validity date for this classifications, whatever we do in GTS? Because in S4, they have introduced this validity date.
Oh, we can do that.
Likewise,
We have that.
okay.
Venkat, generally, when we do a classification of whatever the data we get from the providers, right, and we assign that to the product to the product in the SAP product, who will do this one, like mapping, like how we know which product classification number has should be assigned to which product in the SAP?
That cannot be determined from the IT side or from our end. It has to be determined from the trade compliance specialist. Every company is having their own trade specialist who can confirm or who can decide what code goes with the what product for the export side or import side. We call them as a trade compliance specialist. They're very certified people in that area. Every company is having the certified people in their business. And
So they will be maintaining the whole data in the GTS. Then once we get data from the provider, and then once we move our SAP S4 HANA products to the GTS, then they go ahead directly maintain in the system, or probably
exactly. It is basically for the initial setup, very beginning, MDG team will take the responsibility. MDG team involve it. Okay, you help the business to determine what product, what codes are supposed to be assigned with the what product, and then when they prepare the background file, or they prepared all the file with the details or discussions, and then that will be provided to MDG team, and the MDM or MDG team will take the responsibility of actual classification process. It's a coordination between GTS consultant, MDG team, and the trade compliance specialist, like business people as well, all three departments.
But the
And
first
anything-
time you do it will be a manual, right, Venkat?
Manual in the sense, like I told you, right? We have an option like classify products via work list. There is a transaction called product classification via work list. The transaction called a report transaction, or the standard transaction called product classification via work list, which is which tells you that if you have 1,000 products, if you input all the, let me show you that. Let me open the system, okay? Unshare for 1 minute. Open the system.
Well, Venkat, that will be the actual file, right? Because that file will have the material number, actual material number from the GTS, and another column with that ECCN number. And that file we are going to upload into the GTS system. So that's we call mass upload, right?
No.
Huh?
I'll show you.
Okay.
No, it will not work that way. I'll show you.
And these numbers vary based on the countries, Venkat. I mean, we have the same product selling in different countries, and each country, I mean,
I don't think so. Like these are the standardized codes, right?
okay.
Like,
So it will be
Yes,
for the global. It will be, yeah.
mostly,
Globally.
if commodity code is very global, like, it's a standardized code everywhere. Commodity code, okay?
Okay.
But the schedule B number, as I specified, it's US specific. If it is a country specific, yes, but all other codes are standardized codes.
Okay. Okay.
And Venkat, is the ECC number or the ICC number, are they embedded in the 10-digit?
No, 5-digit. ECC and ICC are only 5-digit.
Right. But you said the schedule B and HTS code are 10 digits, right?
Yes.
So is there any link between the two, in the sense that is ECCN number the 5-digit embedded in the 10-digit, or nothing like that?
They are separate,
They're totally separate. Okay.
totally.
They're two different things actually.
Okay.
Venkat, what happens if the product is not classified in the GTS system?
If the product is not classified in the GTS system, and if you don't update is no control
Yeah.
option, then the system block the transaction saying that the product classification data is missing. It applies the license block, legal control block.
Actually, it will get caught both in exit customs and entry customs also. They won't let the product go forward in real life. Once
So
it
first of all, the compliance level itself, it's blocked. Even it didn't go to the customs level. The compliance.
Okay.
So if you look at this transaction, classify.
Not able to see a screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can see now. Yeah, we can see.
Okay. This is under product classification. Product classification under the compliance management. Product classification under the compliance management. If I go to the classification master data, there is some transaction called classify via work list. If you use this transaction and specify whether it is import or export and the legal regulation, just like that, and then you can input all 1,000. If you have a requirement to assign classification code to the 1,000 products, you can input all 1,000 products here. Okay, you can input all 1,000 products here, and then
Venkat, but we are using same legal regulation in SPL as well and
no.
product classification.
Sangram.
Just you are
Sangram. I just selected for the reference. It's not that.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
Just ignore it, but just reference purpose, in order to move forward, I just selected it. Okay. So in order to explain it, because we didn't move to that extent, I was trying to explain the product classification via functionality, how it works. You can input all 1000 products at one time here, and then this report display data in two different ways. If in case, irrespective of the product classification status, you want to display all products. So whatever the products you input 1000 here, or whatever the products you give the criteria, you have selected the criteria here. If you want to display all products, whether the product is classified or not, if you select this, it displays all products. But whereas if you don't check mark it, it only displays the products which are not classified. So once you get into that, you can select, for example, I'm not sure how it works. Okay, so it's not a relevant regulation. Okay, that's why it's like, let me find if there is any, but we will see as part of our session. Okay.
So we got the very basic question. So now we in S4 we have about 10 product, right? We are dealing with the 10 product.
Sunil, just let me finish it. Okay, otherwise people will deviate. Okay. For example, here we have 972 products, right? So now you have a requirement. Assign one single code to this like 100 these 10 products. Let me like you have a requirement to assign one single code to these 20 products. Then what I can do, I can go back. I can input those not copied.
Third
No,
last.
before the other icon. Yeah.
No, I'm using the wrong icon.
No, the next one.
Oh, sorry, actually. Okay. So now it displays only certain products or selected products. And what you can do, you can select it here and then click on this mass classification or multiple products at one time. Mass classification, multiple products at one time. And then you can specify. So I will explain what is it. I'm going, because it's too early, I should not come here, but somewhat, okay, I can select like this. Okay, and I can select the product, the classification code, and I can assign. By default system takes like today's data as valid from date and valid to date, and I can finish it. So this is how we can make it very simple in SAP GTS using product classification via work list. We can classify products easily, like selecting multiple products at one time, which is call it as mass classification. Okay.
So Venkat, this one thing, I think control free was a new given, right, for E4H? Control free in
control.
the screen.
Okay.
If you go to SAP screen, the mass classification,
you
see the under grouping down.
Yes, this is actually.
Yeah, this one I don't see in the 11. Yeah, it's I think new one.
Actually, we see this option like no control option in the individual classification level. So if I go to like but here in the E4H they added the same functionality.
They added here, yeah,
as part of mass classification. Previously
because
we don't.
Because the individual maintenance we have that one.
Exactly. In the individual maintenance, if I go to like maintain products here. I go to the product and then legal control, classification.
Legal control.
So we have like no control option. So here it used to be like in the lower versions of SAP GTS like 11 or 10.1 other versions. We have this no control option at only individual product classification.
Yeah.
Whereas in the E4H we have that control free during the mass classification as well. Okay. But anyway, I'll come to this one more time.
But this activity, whatever you're doing, right, Venkat? So does it mean that all these product numbers will have a same license?
It could be like if the same code, and then it basically even if it is same code based on the country and other things, the license can be determined, right? Mostly the same code products will require the same license unless and until the country where it is being exported, the where it is being imported, the license can be different. If you use other parameters as part of
We can
license,
use the control grouping, I think. Control grouping. So
that is different one. But the question is,
yeah.
the Sunil's question is, do we use the same license for the product having the same code? That's the question. But the point is, it is one of the parameter. It doesn't mean that it is only the parameter to determine license for a product. Okay. If it is only if the code is the classification code is the only parameter, in that case, yes, it requires the same license. But if other parameters also being used, like region, country, departure country, destination country, if other parameters are being used, then it may require the different license, Sunil. Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Let me go to product classification. So now let me explain one more point, one more important thing. So now I already told you that ECCN length is 5 digit, right? ICCN length is 5 digit. Commodity code or schedule B numbers are 10 digit, or tariff codes or HTS code are the 10 digit. So where we are getting these codes? Data providers. From the data providers. So now the point is, what if data provider, data provider provided a file called ECCN list. So they provided the ECCN list to your system. You received the ECCN number from the data providers. So what is the length that should be for all ECCN codes in the file, the input file, the incoming file? 5 digit. So what if by mistake, it's possible, right? What if they add one more number like 6 digit, or what if some codes are having the only 4 digit? Like we lose we need some control, right? I mean, since we know that ECCN should be 5 digit length, ICCN should be 5 digit length. So since there is a possibility that potential risk of receiving incorrect length of codes from the data provider. So you know what SAP GTS did? You can understand here. What is the process? First one is receiving the codes and then uploading the codes. Receiving the codes and uploading the code. So now when you are uploading, what you can do, let me show you in the system.
Venkat, can you show me the bulk upload and manual
No,
upload?
that's I'm going to show. Okay.
Okay.
So here, if you go to the export side, you see export side. So if you want to maintain a single code, if you want to maintain a single classification code, okay, you can go here, maintain export control classification number. Okay. So if I want to maintain, what is the first thing system is asking?
Numbering schema.
Numbering schema. And even if I want to upload ECCN number, right? Upload ECCN number using the file what we received from the data provider. So what it is asking, who is the data provider that sending this file and numbering scheme? Why it is mandatory? What is the numbering scheme? Basically, the numbering scheme controls the numbering scheme, the concept or the functionality of numbering scheme controls the structure of classification code. So that means whatever the structure, whatever the length, whatever the levels, whatever the structure or whatever the levels that are applicable for each and every code, like each and every classification code or standardized code is defined in the in the configuration of numbering scheme. So I can put like this. So in order to make sure that we are receiving the correct standardized codes from the data providers, what SAP did? SAP provided a concept of numbering scheme for each and every code, so that if you define the numbering scheme, if you configure the numbering scheme in the background, if you configure the numbering scheme in the background, telling that yes, ECCN should be 5-digit length. It can have 2 levels or it can have 3 levels, and it should be 5-digit. If you define that configuration, if you define that control in the configuration, if you define the structure of each standardized code in the configuration as part of numbering schemes definition and number scheme configuration, and when you use it back as part of upload, that numbering scheme will make sure you are uploading the right numbers. You are uploading, or the system will accept only the right numbers that falls under the numbering scheme configuration, that falls under numbering scheme. So the definition is numbering schemes controls the structure of the standardized codes where we configure the numbering schemes in the configuration side. So let me go there. Okay. There are only 2 configurations for the product classification. I will go there. Sorry, complaints, sorry, general settings, GTS, general settings, numbering schemas. You see here, numbering scheme for tariff codes, numbering scheme for
Tariff numbers.
commodity codes, okay? Numbering scheme for control classes. Numbering scheme for control class codes. So if you need to define numbering schemes for the ECCN or ICCN, you can go to the control classes. So what you can do, you can define numbering schema and you can tell what is the length that is applicable. And then if I take this numbering schema, if I use this numbering schema, okay, and go back to maintain classification code, maintain classification code. One second, that's something.
Venkat, same screen wherever you go na, same screen you just drop down value, which numbering schema is available, you can select this only.
I'm trying to see that why it is not accepting the did they change or something here? I got your point. One second, okay. Excel activities. It should be this one. Let us go there. Maintain control classification codes. Oh, sorry, got it. Let me go show you. By numbering scheme content for the control class. Can someone come out of it? It is our team.
Yeah, Venkat, you can
Okay.
check now.
So this is another change what they made in the GTS 11. We used to see directly like define numbering schemas in the ECC in the GTS 11 and lower versions 10.1 or 10 version. We used to have like a numbering schema for ECCN numbers or numbering schema for ICCN numbers. So basically we used to have like different numbering schema for tariff codes, numbering schema for commodity codes. The description also like this, numbering schema for tariff, numbering schema for commodity codes, numbering schema for ECCN, numbering schema for ICCN, numbering schema for FDA. Like this, we used to have all the codes. But in the GTS E4H, they changed it to numbering schema for control classes because it's a legal control, right? Basically, product classification as part of compliance management is used for like license control, right? Legal control, right? That's why they put it as a numbering schema for the control classes where you define the numbering schema here, and then you can define the numbering schema content also. So if you use this numbering schema content, that is DEALNCT, and if you go back to the transaction and select here, so if you click on it, it takes you to the next step. Now the point is, now you'll understand. So if you go back, what is the length that is maintained? Let me 1 second. Let me show you. Okay. So now as part of numbering schema content, so what they did, so or else let me define the new one. Okay, let me define the new one. So I'm going to create a new numbering schema for the ECCN. Okay, I'm going to define a new numbering schema for the ECCN. Okay, go to the new entries. ECCL. Okay, this is like this is not straightforward. We have to be like a little more attentive to understand this. Okay, please pay more attention on this. Okay. So I'm going to create new numbering schema for ECCL. I'm going to create new numbering schema for the ECCN. Go back. We cancel it to show. So basically, we can define the numbering schemas as part of the general settings. We can configure the numbering schemas as part of general settings under numbering schemes. And you can see that numbering schema for the control classes and for the ECCNs and our ICCNs, you can use define numbering schema content for control classes. If you get into here and you can go to the new entries and go to the new entries and specify the name, So numbering schema for the ECCN, okay? And you can specify the description. ECCN, okay? You can say time dependent and official description is received and commercial description also we have it, okay? And then save it. So this is as part of, this is also new thing. It doesn't used to be like this. As part of the define navigation group, this is where you can specify. So basically the numbering schema for the ECCN, it has to be 5-digit length. It has to be 5-digit length, and it can have three levels. The numbering schema for the ECCNs, the length should be 5-digit, and it can have 3 levels. So what at the level one, you can specify the length 1. At the level 1, you can specify the length 1, and then you can tell the system it should be exact length. It should be exact length. And then you can specify level 2, the length should be 2. It's actually including the previous length also. That is, length is 2, and this also should be exact length. And the level 3, what we can say that, so the level 3, when it comes to the, okay, it is like this. I say right, 5A 5A001, 5A001. So now the point is, what the 5 represents? The 5 represents, number 5 represents what category of goods it is, whether it is electronic product, chemical product, or nuclear product, or what product it is. So that is what that is what it refers at a level 1. That is category. And then A, B, C, D, like that. The second digit of ECCN always with the letter, like alphabetical letter, like A to Z. It could be A to Z. So that is the second. So when it comes to the second level, you have to, when you are specifying the length for the second level, you have to take into consideration of the first level 1 length also. If you include it, it is 2. Now the last 3 digits of ECCN. First one category, the second one subcategory, and the last one the specific area it is applied, where it is applicable. So that's where you have to specify the total length is 5. When you say level 3 length 5, that is inclusive of all previous length 2 and 3, 5A001, 5A003, 5A004. That's where you can specify the length 5 also, and you can say exact length. So now if you save it and take this to your upload process. Let me go back. If I try to maintain an ECCN number, okay. You observe it very carefully. Like, sorry. Like, what it is saying at level 1, what it is saying? What I did?
Must be 1.
The level 1, I tried to put 2 digit, but it is saying it should be only 1. So if I say 5, then it will accept. Okay.
But we generally upload all 5 digit at one time, right? Or not to the level wise.
Then it will look at the whole number. Okay.
Okay. So we do both ways, you're saying, right?
We do both ways.
Like we do in the product hierarchy in ECC.
Kind of.
But Venkat, if you are going to import the entire 5-digit string, then why are we concerned with levels then?
No, for the reference purpose, basically. Like if anyone wants to know that, what is the length that we are receiving the file, and then to validate purpose, it will just make sure, for making sure. I'm going back one more time. So create, and then you already understood how it is responding if I put the two digit where it is expecting. Okay. 511, transfer it, and now okay. So now if I put 5A00, let me put the valid date as well. What it is saying, it is expecting enter the total length of 5 digit, else it will not allow you to save it. So basically what it can validate, whenever you are uploading a file from the data provider to your using, like, let me go to that transaction as well. 1 second. GTS area menu.
Venkat, What you are saying, bifurcation of 5 digit.
Okay, 1 second. So when you are uploading this ECCN file, like, right, XML file, right, whatever the file you receive from the data provider, so you specify the data provider here, right? You specify the data, record test, whatever it is, okay? And then, you specify the numbering schema, right? Whatever we just configured, that is this one. So, and then when you are uploading the file, okay, the file is from the, let us say it is from the A11 or your local computer, wherever it is. So when you select this file, so when you're uploading it, if any of the number in the XML file is not falls under 5-digit category, then what it does, it says that it doesn't allow that incorrect number. It stops the incorrect number and accepts only the numbers that are false under according to this numbering scheme. Whatever the way we define the length in the numbering scheme, if the input file has numbers according to that specification, it allows all other incorrect numbers will be failed as part of the upload process. So that is the the benefit or advantage of numbering scheme. Basically, it controls the structure of the numbers what we are uploading to the system. If any of the number is not following the structure what we defined in the numbering scheme, basically it will reject those numbers and accepts only the correct numbers in the XML file. Clear? Anyone?
Yeah, this 5-digit is straightforward, Venkat, which I'm okay, but I'm just trying to understand the levels. So
levels in the sense, if you specify the levels, the file also they can specify that. Okay, level 1, the XML file also can have the levels. So since you are maintaining the manual, you don't see that. But whereas when you are receiving the file, so the XML file is segregated, delimited with the levels. Okay. If the delimited levels are not matching with the structure what we define it fails site. That's it.
Yeah, but what exactly the use? I'm just trying to understand. Like
for example, the input file, the level 1 what is there in the XML file has 2-digit level 1.
Correct.
But then the level 1 what we defined is 1 digit. Then what you are expecting from the system? There's something wrong, right?
Correct.
That's what it is. Basically, the input file, the XML file, what is being received from the data providers, it can have the different levels. According to that, if it is not matching with the levels what we defined in for the sample purpose, I just defined the 3 levels. Okay. If it is not, the incoming file is not falls under the levels what we defined in the numbering scheme, that will be rejected. Those numbers will be rejected.
Yeah. But the data provider also will send level-wise data to us when they send it to.
That's the point. If they provide the level-wise, then you have to define the either there are 2 cases. Either you have to define the numbering schemas, the way how you receive from the way how you generally receive the data from the data provider, or your data provider has to send the XML file according to the levels what you have defined in the system. Either way, it is a coordination basically.
Okay.
It's a coordination between the 2 people, 2 systems or 2 teams, and then you receive the data accordingly, or you define the numbering schema accordingly.
Okay.
But basically, it controls, it makes sure that you are not accepting any incorrect or wrong numbers to the system.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Maybe
I think it
next
says
class, can you share a list from the third-party data provider?
In the sample?
Yeah.
I'll try, Vinod. I'll try.
Okay.
I don't have any handy, but I will try definitely.
Okay.
Shravan, I think you have some question, right?
what I was telling is they have told that this hierarchy level, they already have a standard hierarchy level for this control classes, and minimum it should have some 2 levels. That is what they are saying in the definition itself.
Basically, it's all like the standardization mechanism what companies or clients used to follow. Okay. This is what the GTS product classification overview, the domain process and the system process and also like, the configuration setup. In the next session, we will continue to dig more. We will continue to discuss more about the product classification, which is our second part, where, I will explain how the individual product can be classified, how the multiple products can be classified, and all remaining stuff, remaining functionality, how the reclassification works, or how we can do the reclassification, and also how we can use the Fiori app. All the remaining topics we will discuss in the next session. Okay.
And all this license and everything will be a part of this product classification in compliance management.
License determination, the legal control, legal control. But this is the base for the legal control, basically.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you everyone for.
So Venkat, very basic question. So for customer, for SPL, we send only the respective BPs, whichever valid for the international trade, right? From S4 to the GTS. So is it the same for the material also, right? So we as I said, because we have support 10 material, we are dealing with the 10 material, but only 3 are relevant for the licensing. So only those 3 will go to the GTS, right?
Exactly. That. You don't need to transfer all the data. Whatever the product data relevant for international trade, export and import, only that data need to be transferred. Otherwise, you don't need to transfer it all. That's correct.
Correct. And the second question is that, as you said, suppose now we have 10 product in GTS and now we need to classify them. So we have 3 groups. So like 3, 3 and 4. So there is no single way, right? As you showed earlier, we have to take only those 4 products and then assign that one number, one ECCN number,
Yes.
take another 3 products, assign the different ECCN number and take 4, right? So but there is no, as I said earlier, okay, in one file, in Excel file, we have suppose 10 product and respective ECCN number. Can we load that as a part of the one transaction?
Actually, we don't have that kind of.
Okay. So it's a group of the material, right? We have to just select that group
that
of
is
material.
again, that is again our LSMW kind of thing. We can, that's it. But since we have that mass classification functionality, generally clients don't use that LSM upload approach. That's the file input. We don't, clients don't use that approach.
Okay. So you say mass, but we have to do it multiple times because I say, okay, we have 10 product and group of 3, right? 3, 3 and 4. So we have to do that mass activity 3 times.
That's a mass in the sense, like basically it's called multiple products, classification of multiple products at one time.
One time. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you everyone. See you in the next time. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Venkat. Bye.
No problem. Thank you. Bye.
Hey, Venkat.
Thank you, Venkat.